Hey guys, welcome. It's been a while, lot going on, but I'm here. Your girl's back, and today we're talking about what's the topic? We're talking about what it really means to be a good wife. Like, who's a good wife? How do you become a good wife or a better wife, right? I'm gonna be looking at my notes because I have so much going on. Your girl is tired, okay? Okay. So I need to be able to just keep myself on track. So we're gonna be talking about what isn't or who isn't a good wife. Like, what are some things to not do? Then we're going to discuss what is or who is a good wife as defined by the Bible, because that's our rule book, okay? And then how do we become the good wife or a better wife? We hear it all the time, to be a good wife. But what does it really mean? Do people really tell us? Do they define it? I know for me, I grew up in the church, and you kind of assume that, just as a Christian, like, it's kind of implied. A good wife does this, cook, clean, whatever, but it's not really addressed. Like, how do you treat your husband? Like, you see other people being respectful and doing certain things, but until you're in the position, you're married and you actually have a husband, and you find out that, what the challenges are, and you realize this really isn't as easy as it seemed, or what I thought it was gonna be, right? I know when I was growing up, I was like in my head, I'm like, I would never get a divorce. I don't understand why women were wanting to get a divorce. Maybe just from overhearing people talk. I don't know why, but I had these ideas in my mind. And I know I look crazy, guys. I've been up all day. I'll tell y'all about my day later, but don't mind the way I look. But anyways, so I would tell myself, like, no matter what, I'm gonna do what is necessary to keep my husband happy, and I'm gonna be the dream wife, and my husband is never gonna leave, and I would always give my husband the sexy time. What am I? I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. I think maybe it's because of the relationship between my mom and my dad, right? So I was just trying to be like, I don't want to make those mistakes. So I think maybe that's what it was. Like, I'm going to try to do whatever was necessary to avoid reliving what I saw my mom going through. So, yeah. So we don't, and that's another point, like in my household, because my mom was saved, but my dad wasn't. My dad was the opposite. Like, he hated church. He cussed out the church like literally every chance he got. So it was just like night and day. We did not get a true example. Like, I feel like he was sent on this earth to try to get my mom to go to hell. Like, because he would literally provoke her. But anyways, the point is, I had this idea in my head what I wanted to be or who I wanted to be as a wife. And reality hit, got married. It's like literally the hardest thing to do is to just, I mean, on the surface, like when everything is going good, when things are going well, it's easy to be the good wife, to be the happy wife, to do what is needed. It's during the hard times, it's during the disagreements, it's during the um whatever the conflict is, right? the infidelity, maybe lies for whatever reason, the breakdown of the trust for whatever reason, that's when we really get tested. Am I a good wife or not? All right. So let's talk about what isn't, or what it means, or what it does not mean. We're going to eliminate some things or some misconceptions. So being a good wife is not about being perfect. All right. We're not called to be flawless. And that's one thing. I think I struggled with that, because I'm like, say for instance, a situation came up and I didn't handle it in the best way, right? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be flawless. Um, Even though it might be a goal, because as Christians, we want to be move closer to perfection. We want to be more like Christ. So we're going to use every mistake, every challenge, and this is in general as well in our walk with Christ. We want to use every situation as a stepping block or stepping stone. You're going to learn from your mistakes and you're going to get better each time. We can't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. All right. But you have to remember that all have sinned and come short, except for Jesus. So don't be too hard on yourself. We're not expected to be perfect and to be flawless, but we have to recognize whenever we make a mistake. Because if we can't recognize our mistakes, we're going to keep making them over and over again. All right. So being a good wife is not about being a people pleaser. All right. You're not just going to say yes to your husband just to avoid conflict. You're not a yes woman. That's not what submission is. That's not what God requires of us as wives. He actually needs our voice. He needs our wisdom. Our husband needs that. We are expected to allow him to lead, but he needs us as advisors. He needs that partnership. He needs our help. We're expected to be his helpers, helpmeet. Okay? So don't believe that you can't criticize and you can't make corrections and you can't help him along. That's actually your duty. Okay? If you see him making mistakes, you see him going in the wrong direction. The thing is how we correct him, how we guide him, how we help him. We have to do it in a respectful way. And Ephesians tells us that we have to be meek and gentle. And I believe that it points out that, or those specific traits, because that is what is necessary. It says we find favor with God when we're meek and gentle and quiet towards our husbands. All right. So don't think you have to be a people pleaser or a husband pleaser. You're not a yes woman. You're gonna give your opinion because you're wise. You pay attention. Your husband may not be the most attentive to certain things. So he needs your voice. He needs your wisdom. It's just how you're going to go about it that's going to be different. And obviously, being a good wife is not about doing it alone. All right. It's not about, you're not defined by how much you do. That was one thing that I did wrong for so long. I felt like the more I did, the better of a wife I was. So I was just taking on so much. Of course, I'm working, right? And we had children unexpectedly. Like we didn't think we could procreate naturally, because we tried for years and years and years. Didn't happen. Then all of a sudden, they just came back to back to back, right? We weren't really expecting them. And so I was working full time. I was trying to do all the housework. I'm trying to teach my kids to read. I started really early, trying to potty train, I was just doing everything instead of maybe get asking my husband to get some help, you know? Um, can we hire a maid? Can we get a cleaner? Can we Eventually I started doing that because I recognized that I literally physically could not do everything. So being a good wife is not about doing everything alone. All right? Because if you're running on empty, then just to prove your worth, and that's not what God wants for us. God actually wants our husband to take care of us. He wants us to live a good, fulfilling life. And He wants our husband to be providing, to be, taking care of us. He gave him very clear instructions to love your wife sacrificially, to sacrifice for her, sacrifice your own desires, your own feelings. It says, will you? Well, it was telling the husband to love the wife as much as he loves himself. Oh, please talk more about parenting and marriage. I feel like I'm doing everything. How can I get him to help? All right, based on what I did, because I used to do that too, right? I did everything with the children. As I was saying, I would put them to bed, make lunch, get them dressed, give them the baths. But all I did was I told my husband, I'm not going to be doing that anymore. I expect, or I want, or just you can literally say anything, ask anything of your husband if you do it in a way that he finds respectful, okay? Um I don't know your husband, but you know him. For my husband, as long as I don't raise my voice, I don't use derogatory terms, I just say, and this is in general, say how you feel about, say, tell them how you feel. Don't say, I feel like you're not doing enough and you should be doing it. Don't make it about them. Say, babe, I would love if you could just do a little bit more with the kids. Um, I just feel so overwhelmed and overworked and I'm so tired, and make it a little bit about them as well. Like if you were doing a little bit more with the kids, I feel like we could have more intimate time because I wouldn't be so tired. If you put that in there, the man will be wanting to do everything. He's going to be like, what can I do? Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I feel like the 5% he does to help is already overwhelming for him. Um, does he say that, or is that just your opinion? Does he actually complain about doing stuff? Because he shouldn't be helping. Listen, listen. He's a parent. You already did majority of the work bringing them here. And it affected a lot of things. Okay? Your husband, sometimes men don't understand that. They just don't. I don't know when my husband figured it out. But I don't know, maybe because have the conversations with him, because your phone is listening. Because my husband's phone, when I started to talk to him about how overwhelming, how tired I was feeling, sometimes we don't complain because we feel like we shouldn't be complaining. Like, this is my job, this is my duty. And so you don't want to tell him how you're feeling. What does he do? What is a lot that he does for the kids? Just financially? Is that what he means? Because that's still not enough. Do you work? If you're a stay-at-home mom, I could see him saying something like that, but it still doesn't justify. Mm-mm. Why would he say that? Sometimes men can be really, what's the word? I don't want to. I'm gonna just say clueless, okay? They don't understand like what we go through. So I want you to make it more about him, okay? I don't know if you already give him a lot of sexy time, but if you don't, it's a good reason to justify him doing more. So you can say to him, babe, I feel like our intimacy is suffering. I feel like, we need to just be more emotionally connected. And I would love to increase our sexy time. I don't want to say the word, but y'all should know what I mean. But you have to make him, at first, make him recognize the benefits of him doing more. Like I saw this reel, right? And the guy, it's funny, but it's true if you think about it. This guy, right? His wife. His wife was like, the whole day she's trying to do stuff around the house. And he's like, first, it was the dishes. She's doing the dishes, and he comes along and he's like, no, don't do the dishes. I'll do the dishes because later I don't want you to say you're tired, right? And he does the dishes. So next he sees her mopping the floor and he's like, no, 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 you don't mop the floor. I'll mop the floor because later I don't want you to say you're tired. Next time she's cooking dinner or something, or she's gonna go grocery shopping, and he's like, no, 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 I'll go grocery shopping. I don't want you to be tired later, right? By the end of the day, he does everything, all her duties. But guess what? Now he's so tired. She's trying to wake him up for the sexy time, but he's too tired to he won't wake up. She's like, babe, babe, it's time for whatever. And he's just like, no, too tired. And it's funny, but I don't think men understand like how much of a toll it takes on us. Even if it's just little things, just taking care of stuff around the house, even if you're just a stay at home mom, it's a lot taking care of kids. I have three little one under 7, and I work from home, but I work, and it's a lot. You know what I had to do? I stopped doing stuff. So say for instance, and this is one thing I wanted to say as well. Say for instance, you want him to put the kids to bed. Ask him nicely, babe, can you put the kids to bed tonight for me? And you just don't do it. Don't even wait for him to respond or whatever. Go to sleep or go do something else. Go for a run. Leave him no option but to put the kids to bed. Okay? That's one thing. That's number 2. So I gave you 2 ways. Tell him you're going to give him more sexy time. And secondly, just don't do it. You want him to do something? Don't do it. You want him to put them to bed? Don't do it. Someone's got to do it. If you keep doing it, the thing is, we keep telling ourselves that if we don't do it, it's not going to get done. After a while, he's going to get the picture. Okay? He's going to get the picture. Maybe not putting the kids to bed if you need them to wake up for school or whatever, but something where it's not going to be, say for instance, giving them a bath. I know the kids you may feel like they're going to suffer for a while, but say, babe, um would you mind giving the kids a bath? I'll put them to bed. So y'all are sharing do not give them a bath. I don't care if it goes for a week, 2 weeks. Every night you just remind him, babe, can you give the kids a bath and I'll put them to bed? And you just don't do it. Okay? I know it sounds cruel, but he's a parent as well. If you keep doing the things, he's going to feel like he does not have to do them, and he has to do them. You're not a slave. You're there. It's a partnership. Yes, he's the lead, but if you need help and he can help you, why not? What is he helping? What is he doing? He goes to work and then he comes back home. He pays the bills. My husband said that one time, and I was like, this was before the Lord opened his eyes. But anyways, so he was like, I pay the bills. Like, like if I would say, and maybe I wasn't saying it in the right way because I wasn't kind. I wasn't, if I was upset about something, he was gonna know I was upset about it. I can be loud, I can be disrespectful in the words I choose to use. So that may be sometimes our approach makes them defensive. Not that I'm taking up for them, but just taking accountability for the role that I played or that you may be playing in it. Okay. Not that he's right or it makes it any right. Two wrongs don't make a right, but we still have to or need to acknowledge when there's a wrong. So if I'm doing a wrong, I need to acknowledge that I'm playing a part. There's a wrong on my side. He's also doing something wrong by not helping or by being defensive or by saying something horrible like he's already helping. I'm almost sure it's because he's paying the bills why he says that. But anyways, where was I? So I hope that helps. That's what I did. So I'm pretty sure. But if that doesn't work, if just stop doing stuff, and remember when I say how to stop being his mother, because if you're doing everything, you're more of a mother than a wife. You're not meant to do everything. Letting him lead or submitting to him doesn't mean you do everything. You could literally submit to your husband, let him lead, and he does the dishes, he does the laundry, that's not, letting him lead is basically about decision making. So he could decide, hey, I want to do more to help. I want to do more of the household chores because chores. I don't know if I said that. Chores. Because maybe I work from home and I have a little bit more time to do whatever, and he just needs to be more kind. But how do we get him to be more kind? Whatever it is that you want from him, give to him, okay? So if you want him to be more helpful to him in ways that he wants it. And I'm pretty sure, be more respectful, give him more sexy time. Always with men. Those two things, there may be other things, but those two things, every single man, it's gonna work. And then if there are other things, he'll let you know. But start doing more for him, and he's gonna start doing. Listen, when I figured out the cheat code, which is what I'm trying to come on here and help you guys with, my husband was asking for things to help me with, literally. Like, you need anything else done? What do we need to do? You know what I mean? Which where he was before talking about he pays the bills and that's enough, to doing a lot of the chores. Why do I keep saying chores? But anyways, all right, so let's move on. Let me know if you have any other questions. All right. So, what is a good wife according to the Bible? And I'm looking off here because I have some notes so I don't ramble on, as y'all see that I can do, and it's kind of late. But, anyways, so first of all, a good wife builds her home. Okay. According to Proverbs 14:1, it says, a wise woman doesn't just live in her house, she builds it. Every word you speak, every action you take is either building up or tearing down. I don't know which translation that is, but I like it. Um and building your home does is not about the house. Okay? It's not about cleaning. Your house could be spick and span. I don't know. Clean. But if you're not like building your children, building your husband up, like saying encouraging words, being positive, being kind, okay? You need to be the example for your kids. Show your sons what kind of wife they need to, or what kind of woman they need to seek out for a wife. Show your daughters how to, how to act, how to behave, what to, basically what to require, what kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? What kind of standards they need to have. We need to show them how they need to be treated. I'm not taking less than this. I'm not going to accept any kind of, you know what I mean? And so that's what we need to have standards, even with our husbands. We're being kind and we're being gentle and meek and all that, but we're still letting them know this is what I expect from you as a husband, and this is what I'm willing to do for you as a wife. I'm going to, even though it's not conditional, I'm promised to you that I'm going to make sure that you're always satisfied. Sexy timey. I don't know if YouTube censors, but I know like on TikTok I can't say sex. So I'm trying not to. But just tell him I'm going to fulfill my duty as a wife in terms of the sexy time. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to follow your lead even when you're acting crazy. I'm going to pray for you and make sure that God is leading you, okay? I'm going to try not to nag you. I'm not going to be up in your face. I'm not going to try to control you and control the things you do. I'm going to do my part. But I do expect you to love me sacrificially, like the Bible says. At some point, you have to figure it out. At some point, you need to make sure I feel like what I am doing is reciprocated, that what I am doing is not in vain. Okay? I'm going to do it anyways because what I do is unto God. It's not necessarily for you. But if I'm doing all that, you know what I mean? I need to feel loved. I need to feel, and we give them our standards. We're not going to be walked over. We're not going to be, and most of the times, if we're doing what the Bible tells us to do, your husband won't do that. Men can be defensive, okay? They're usually defensive. They're not coming with the offense um like if you don't bother them, they'll just go along with the flow. But you need to tell him, I need you to step up. I need you to lead. I'm going to step back. I don't want to be making certain decisions. I don't want the financial burdens to be on me. I don't want to be the one figuring out how we're going to pay the bills. What's going to happen if I don't make this and this month. That's not my duty. I promise you, you're never going to go hungry. Your house is always going to be clean. I'm going to take care of your children, but you need to make sure we're good. You need to make sure you're providing. You need to make sure that emotionally I'm okay. You need to make sure that um you're protecting me. You're protecting my heart. You're not, people aren't saying any and anything to me, even if it's his own mother, even if it's his own family members. You need to let him know this is what I expect of you. And especially if you're not married yet, if you're courting, if you're dating, this is when we really need to have our standards. We need to let them know like our non-negotiables. We're making a mistake. We're too lenient in dating. We just go with the flow. Oh, he's so nice. He pays for the food. He does this. And you don't even know what he thinks about in terms of providing. You don't even, he's talking about 50-50, and he doesn't expect. That was the conversations we had. I messed up, but God redeemed me. God redeemed my husband, because I was basically telling my husband that I am gonna work, and I don't ever see myself not working, and me talking all that big talk and my independent woman thing. And he's like, okay, if you're gonna be making all that money and doing all that thing, I expect you to pay half of everything. You know what I mean? And I was like, I mean, that's fair. That sounds good. And then I started having children, and I'm like, no one ever told me how much work it is to just be a mother, to just keep a house clean, to just get them ready for school in the morning. And then you have to come home. You have to try to be, maintain your weight, try to do your skincare, try to work out, try to meal prep. How are we expected to do all that and still be 50-50, paying 50% of the bills while doing 100% of the housework? Not being, there's no like emotional support, there's no financial support, there's no, it's just the sexy time and yours roommate, yours, what do you call that? Sexy time buddy, friends with benefits. What's the point? Don't get married if that's, we're doing it wrong. They brainwashed us. They brainwashed us. When you're single, the go-getter and the independent woman, it makes sense. It makes sense. You don't have anyone to be responsible for. But you get, even if you get married and you're both like, there's no children, right? You could both be like, yeah, I'm gonna work hard, you're gonna work hard, we're gonna save as much as we can, and we're gonna just hustle till the kids come so we can, that makes sense, okay? That's okay. Because then you have the money to back up stuff. And but once the kids come in, how are you gonna be a good mother? How are you gonna be a good wife, a good housekeeper, a good employee, a good child of God? You're spread too thin. You're working against yourself, and then we resent the man when we signed up for it. We came in with the independent talk. We came in with, oh, I can make my own money. I'm educated, and I don't need you. I could do all by myself. And we, this was me, guys. I'm talking about me. This is all the things I said in my stupidity. But we could do better, okay? Once you get married and you start having the children, your role, it has to change. It has to change. You can't do everything. We're not super women. Our power does not lie in doing everything, overwhelming ourselves just to prove that we're the good wife, we're the best wife. That's not what the best wife is. That's not what the godly wife is. All you need to do to be a good wife, to be a godly wife, is to respect your husband. Treat him with respect and give him the sexy time. Don't forget that part. Because these men, and God bless them, because God made them this way. I know it's not just my husband. I've talked to I don't know how many wives, and it's all the same. There's only one wife I've come across that said, oh, my husband doesn't like the sexy time that much. Okay. But there's an exception to every rule. But be respectful to your husband. And it's a cycle. When you start to give him the respect, remember, we're not talking about love. The Bible doesn't tell you to love him because they don't feed off love. He could feel loved, and if he feels disrespected, he's not paying attention to the love part. I know I know my wife loves me, but she doesn't respect me. He's not getting excited about the love. They can get love or feel love from anywhere. Respect, when a woman respects her husband, whether or not she feels like he deserves it, he walks around like he's a king. He feels like he is unstoppable. He can accomplish anything. I don't know about you, But my wife respects me. My wife believes in me. My wife thinks I can accomplish this. So I'm going to do it. That's how they feel. And when you make them feel that way, then they want to take care of you. They want to spoil you. They want to love upon you. Okay? So even to Sarah, I don't know if she's still on, but if you're using any kind of words that may be demeaning to him, if you're trying to get him to help you by using not so kind words, that may be why he's coming back defensive with not so kind responses, okay? Because my husband did that, but it was in a time when he didn't feel respected. He didn't feel like he was enough for me. He just felt like he could never be good enough. No matter what he did, it was never good enough. Because I always complained. Oh, you didn't do this right. You're not doing that. Like, I complain about everything. And I didn't want to. I don't know why I didn't want to. It didn't feel good doing it. But I had this thing in my mind where I used to say the truth is the truth. So I'm just talking the truth. I'm just speaking the truth. And the truth is going to hurt. The truth hurt. You just don't want to hear because it's the truth. But we don't have to be unkind in the name of speaking the truth. You can encourage him into doing better. You can encourage him into being better. You can, oh, babe, you did such a good job. It may not be the best job, but it still can be a good job if he washes the dishes. And I like to say that because I used to complain about the way my husband washed the dishes. Even if it's not perfectly done, the fact that they're done, that's a good job. Honestly, with all the things going on in my house, you did the dishes. Oh my gosh, I love you so much. And I make a big deal out of everything. You know what that does to him? Every time dishes need to be done, he's going to do them because he likes the praise. And then later at night, I'm going to be like, babe, I felt so good that you did the dishes for me and you did this and you did that. Let's do some little sexy time because I'm not so tired anymore. And you remind them it's because you did that thing why now I'm able to do this thing for you, because you took something off my plate. And every time he takes something off your plate, you give him a little better sexy time. And he's going to want to do more the next time. That's how we reward them. Even though the Bible tells us to do it, we don't want to just do it for a short chore. Y'all don't laugh at me. Oh my God. Why I can't say this one little word. But anyways, these are the little things. Our husbands aren't that complicated. Okay? It's not that hard to be a good wife. It's just that we've been miseducated. When I when I became not when I started working. I'm an attorney, right? And my workload is like super high. It's like I can never catch up. When you see attorneys working like all through the night on TV, it's because the work, it just never ends. And I'm like, can people stop emailing me? Can things stop coming for me to do? Like, can it just, I really, even going out on a vacation is stressful for me because when I come back, it's just like, oh my gosh, I have so much to catch up on. But anyways, so I say that to say, like, so when I started having kids, it's like, how do I balance this workload with all the things I have to do with the children, you know? Like, I can't be working the late nights and the long hours anymore. How do I balance this? And the best thing I could come up with, my husband needs to do more. My husband literally would go to work and he could come home and scroll on his phone. He could take a nap. And I'm like, how do you find the time to be on your phone and there's so much to do, right? This is what I'm saying in my head. But once the Lord opened up my eyes, like how to get him to do stuff without asking him to do stuff, which is what I'm trying to tell you. He's just gonna wanna ask. He's gonna ask. My husband literally started asking me, what can I do? How can I help? Right? Until it became a habit, like he's gonna do this. He's gonna do more of that. So my little light went out, but I think it's better. So yeah, just by doing for them and doing more for them, it's just being selfless instead of thinking about me, even though you're tired and you're weary. In the end, it's gonna work out for your benefit. And it's just, all I'm saying is be more respectful. When we think about submission, we think about slavery and they're taking advantage of us and they're incapable of leading and da, da, da. No. Think about submission as respecting God and the word of God, and therefore you're respecting your husband because God asked you to. The Bible asked you to. And just because you're obedient, just because you did what the Bible asks you to, he's going to bless that. He's going to bless your obedience. And the reverse is true as well. If you're not in obedience, you're not in alignment with the word of God, you're going to always struggle. Your marriage is always going to feel like a burden instead of the blessing that it is. Okay, guys? I know it sounds impossible. It sounds hard. But a few years ago, I felt like I didn't even know if I was capable of letting my husband lead or being submissive, allowing him to lead me, and I'm just allowing myself to follow him, even despite my thoughts that he's not capable, my thoughts that he's not submitted to God, so why should I submit to him? But the Bible never gave us any conditions. It never said only submit if this. It literally told us in First Peter 3, verse 1, that even if he's not submitted, no, it says to submit to your husband, so that if he's not following the word of God, by your actions, by your holy living, he can be saved. He can be brought to Christ. How powerful is that? Can you imagine that? Like, that's a ministry. Just by submitting to him, you can save your husband. You can bring him to Christ. What? That's one soul that you save by just being obedient to the word of God. But I know it's not easy. I know it's a renewing of the mind that is needed. It's necessary. It was so hard for me. So hard. It was hard it was hard for me to even think that I could do it. But once I started, it became easier, and I was like, I don't even remember like what it was like before. I know I could tell you that this is what I used to do, but like my mindset, I can't justify why I felt that way other than I was just brainwashed. The world told me to be independent. The world told me. Who is that? Jackson, you have to go back to bed, baby. Go pee. Do you need to pee? Go pee and come back. My God, that's my cue. I put them all to bed before I got on, but of course, my one son thinks I'm his, so he woke up to pee and did not see me. And he came looking for me. This is my life. But it was really good. I don't know if I should get off. Let me see if I covered everything. I think I did. So, but I'm gonna run through like how to become a better wife. Come on. It's okay. Daddy got him. That's not what he wanted. All right. So the first thing to become a better wife is to start with self-reflection, which is what I was saying. Instead of finding all the faults in him, we're not even going to focus on him and what he's doing. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Um, when you can reflect on your own heart and you can say, and I want you to do this. I want you to find within yourself, what are some things that I could change? My son gave me this. I just realized I still had it. But what are some things I can change about myself, about my approach to him? How are my words that I use when I talk to him, when I get angry? Because when you're good, you're good. When you're in a good mood, when things are good, we don't have to worry about those instances. I want you to focus on when you get angry, when you're in disagreement. That's when you really need to focus on letting him lead, letting him, giving him the control, having him make the decision. When you just let go of the control, it's not that hard anymore. I literally started just letting my husband make decisions. So the conflicts, they rarely even come anymore. Like, I can count on this hand in the last few years since I started how many times we've had a conflict. Because whenever a disagreement comes up and I realize it's a disagreement, I'm just like, it's okay, babe. Whatever you say or whatever like, it doesn't matter to me. My life is so much easier because I just let go of the control. Like, I just started thinking, what's going to happen if I agree with him? What's the worst that could happen? Is my way the only way, or could his way actually work as well? So I'm just like, it's okay, babe, whatever you decide. I'm fine with it. You have no idea the power in those words. Guess what my husband does when I say those things? He's like, okay, um, he does the thing that I wanted anyways. Whenever, say for instance, I say, give you an example. I'll say, um, for vacation, let's go to Jamaica. And he's like, no, I wanted to go on a cruise. And instead of arguing for going to Jamaica for whatever reason, I'm like, okay, if that's what you want, babe, that's fine with me. He'll come around just because I let him have that. He'll actually come around and he'll say something like, yeah, I'll think about Jamaica as well. I'm gonna weigh the two. I'm gonna see which one's cheaper. Or maybe we could do Jamaica in December and we can do the cruise in summer. But he starts wanting to give me what I wanted just because I allowed him to have his way. It's something I cannot explain it, but I think it's just human nature that it happens not just in marriage, it works in every single relationship. The thing is, we hold on so much to the control, right? So much. It's like a tug of war. And the more we pull, the more he's wanting to pull. But if you just let it go, just let it go. There's no need for the conflict. There's no need for the tension. Just agree, girl. What's the worst that could happen? If you trust God and you know that the God you serve is all powerful and he loves you and he promised you that he will never leave you or forsake you. He promised that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. He tells you that he's going to work everything together for your good, for them that love him, and you know you love him with all your heart. What are you so worried about? What can you do that God can't do? No matter what your husband does, my God is so powerful. He's not going to let anything bad happen, anything detrimental happen to you that you can't recover from. because it's him. He's in control. Even if you lose $1 million because your husband made some stupid decision, God can give it back to you 12 folds, 20 folds, 100 folds. Just be obedient. Just trust him. Say, I know this man is about to do something crazy, but I'm trusting you, God. Unless he's trying to get you to do something sinful, of course we know that is not biblical. That is never biblical. But I'm not talking about that, okay? Just so if you're wondering, we are not going to be led into sin by our husband. That is the only time, yeah, if it's sinful or if he's abusive, it's a no-no. All right? So, but yeah, I'm going through a list. So the next thing is we're getting into the word daily. You need the word because the flesh in us, we're selfish. We're naturally selfish. That's our flesh. Every day we have to kind of subject our flesh, put it under subjection, okay? And that's by reading the word of God and reminding yourself why you're doing it, reminding yourself who you serve, the power of your God. This is not about your husband. This is about me and my relationship and my walk with God. This is about me trusting God so much that I'm willing to obey his word no matter what. Okay? And obeying his word means as well, if your husband is trying to lead you into sin, your obedience, your allegiance is not necessarily to him. So it doesn't mean you're going to follow him into hell. Okay? And the next thing, so I want you to start with Proverbs 31. If you're a Christian wife, I know you already know that one, probably by heart. And Ephesians 5:22. 22. All right. And just onwards till it gets to the husband part. And then surround yourself with a godly community. That's very, very important. Don't forget that part. Becoming better is hard when you feel isolated. So if you have to come on here and watch my videos all the time, I'm going to be opening up a community for us as wives that want to grow and be better. So that's coming soon. I'm going to tell y'all about that later. But otherwise, find a Facebook community if you don't want to join mine. Watch my videos if you get discouraged. I have so much on there. I'm sick of myself sometimes because I'm just always talking about the same thing, right? But we need to keep reminding ourselves, even myself. I have to daily remind myself of the word of God, the promises of God, why I do this thing. It's not about me. It's not about my husband. I'm not being submissive because I'm expecting him to do something in return. I'm just doing it out of pure obedience. Everything else is just a bonus. That's the icing on the cake. When he changes, when he starts doing whatever, that's just the consequences of my obedience. But that's not what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And that will keep you going. Because if we do it because of him or for him or to change him, we're going to be disappointed every time. Your husband is going to change and he's going to get better, but it's not going to be overnight. He could be a completely different man in a month. It could take him a year. It could take him 3 years. It's a process, and everyone go through change differently. So be patient with yourself, be patient with him, and just trust God. And the fourth thing to do is to focus on progress, as I said before, not perfection. I want you every week to make note of something that you've changed, you're doing differently consistently. Like the way you respond to him. Are you consistently being calm and gentle and meek? And remember, it does not mean silent. Think about gentle is the opposite of being hard. You're not going to be, oh, I'm so hard and I could do everything by myself. I need the light bulbs changed. I'm going to climb up the ladder and do it because I can. I'm going to bring all the groceries in all at once because I can. I'm going to paint the garage because I can. Yes, you can. We know you're capable. Do you need to be doing all that when you have a more perfectly capable man that's scrolling through his phone or watching TV, playing video games? That could be doing his part. I'm not gonna say helping because that's his job. Okay, his job is to provide, protect, um, all the things. Okay, all your job is respect him. Go read all the instructions to husbands and wives. Your little thing says respect him. And it gives us some examples like Sarah respected Abraham, calling him Lord. It doesn't mean you have to call him Lord, but it's just an example of how she reverenced her husband. That's how you need to make him feel. Once you make him feel like Lord, not like Jesus Lord, but like he's above you in rank, um he needs to treat you. The Bible doesn't tell him to lead you. It tells him to love you sacrificially, to treat you as his equal partner. So don't get it confused. When we talk to the men, we're not telling men, or we shouldn't. I don't talk to the men, but if I did, the word doesn't tell the men to lead us. So I don't know why these people get on here and tell men, lead your wife. That's not what the Bible tells the men to do. The husbands, that shouldn't be their focus. That's not your focus. Your focus is to take care of her, to love her sacrificially. That means you're putting her above yourself. That's what sacrificial love is. The relationship between Christ and the church is our model. You're treating her like Christ treats the church. You need to think long and hard about that if you're a husband watching this. Okay? And as a wife, we get one. And I need to tell y'all this in case your husband starts acting up. No, maybe not. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But I want to say this just in case the men are watching, because sometimes the men will see this and think, oh, yeah, she needs to let me lead and she needs to do this. That's none of your business, sir. Kindly, respectfully. Your business, that's her business. She needs to respect you and she needs to let you lead. But you don't need to be focusing on that. You need to make sure you're loving her sacrificially. The Bible goes as far as to tell you that your prayers will be hindered if you're not honoring your wife. If you're not honoring your wife. That's your focus, sir. You're out there praying. You're doing all these things. You're on your knees every day. You're trying all these things and nothing is happening. Nothing is working because you're neglecting your wife. That's the issue. Your prayers are hitting the ceiling and they're not going much further. Okay? So focus on loving your wife so much that respecting you is like nothing. It comes naturally for her. That's your job. And wifey, respect him so much that loving you sacrificially comes naturally to him. That's how it should be. It's a cycle. He's not expected to be respecting you the way you're respecting him. They need to feel respected. We as women, as wives, the respect isn't gonna move us the way it moves them. He could be, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am who? You need to be calling me something lovey-dovey. I need to feel loved, not respected. Him though, you call him sir, he's like, grovel, grovel, what can I do for you? You call him Lord? What? I'm your Lord? That gets him going, you know? But us, we need to feel loved, and there's not a one size fits all thing. You need to figure out You as a wife need to figure out what makes you feel loved, and you need to communicate that with him. Okay? He's not gonna, it's gonna, if you have him try to figure it out, men are kind of slow. Sorry, guys. I think this is scientific, but I don't know. But they're slower than the women. That for sure I know. Generally speaking, before y'all come at me. But help him to understand you. How do you accept love? Because he could be bringing you all the roses in the world, and that does nothing to you. But does he know that? In his mind, I'm doing all these romantic things. I buy her roses, I buy her the perfumes, I send her gifts, and she still doesn't look like she's fulfilled. She doesn't seem happy. Because what's that one? Gift giving is not her love language. She wants that quality time. When you're together, you're scrolling your phone, and she doesn't feel connected to you. So we're focusing on the wrong thing, and he doesn't know it, right? Because in his mind, he's like, I take her to all these nice restaurants and I buy her these nice gifts. And he thinks that's just maybe because that's how he receives love. So he feels like he's doing everything he can do, not recognizing not everyone receives love in the same way. So you have to figure, sometimes we as women, we don't even know how we receive love, right? So maybe you can explain to him, like, I don't feel loved when by the flowers or the roses. I used to tell my husband that, like, he would get me flowers, and I'm like, they're gonna die in 2 days. I don't like that. I don't want a gift that's gonna die. I don't want chocolate that I'm gonna eat and not see again. You know what I mean? And at first, I know he felt some type of way. Maybe I didn't, because back then I didn't really know how important it was to like speak just kindly instead of just speaking my truth. We like to say that it's my truth and I'm going to speak my truth. Be kind in speaking your truth. Be considerate. They're trying to do something nice. Why are we going to deflate them in that moment? Why are we going to tear them down? Yeah, I don't like roses, but thank you so much for even thinking about getting me something. You stopped at the store and you thought about getting me this and spending, that's a good thing. So, but just say, you know what? Instead of roses next time, I don't think that's my love language, babe. Maybe we could just watch a movie together. Maybe you could rent a movie and let him know it's not about how much he spends. It's just what makes you feel connected and loved and closer to him. So, I mean, if you love, I know some women, that's what they love. They love getting the gifts. So, if that's your thing, then, but whatever it is, just let him know. And then for the men, the same thing. Let your wife know, what do you need to feel respected? How, and wifey, because I feel like I'm talking to wives. So ask him, what are some things that make you feel disrespected? Sometimes that's the easiest way to go, figuring out what makes them feel disrespected, and then that work your way back. Okay. So sometimes they'll say, like, I hate it when women talk over me when we're in a group, or I hate it when whoever I'm with just won't let me speak. I say that because that's something I do to my husband all the time. So I'm learning to just because I like to, I'm an attorney, so naturally I just like to argue. Um, Not with him anymore, but if we're like in a discussion, I'm trying to learn to just let him speak and have his say. Um, but yeah, we just need to figure out what each other needs and give each other those things. I can't come on here and say, be respectful in this way. Sometimes it's helpful because sometimes, it's certain things we just know everyone finds disrespectful, like calling them certain names. That's a no. Calling them names in general, we don't need to do that. Girl, you don't need to do that. That's not kind. We need to be gentle, okay? We need to be meek, demure, okay? So, anyways, I think it's kind of late. I do have work in the morning, but I do want to tell you guys that I think my webinar is finally ready. I'm going to launch it tomorrow, Monday. So please go and sign up for my free webinar. There is a course that you can purchase at the end. It has a lot of goodies in there, but the webinar itself, as it's packed full of just nuggets. If you just want to watch the free webinar, you're still gonna walk away with so much knowledge. I drop knowledge every time I come on here. I know if y'all just want to listen to one video, y'all could start changing your marriage. But if you want just more, you want some hand holding, you want me to be in your ear like every week I'm on live, or I'm on not live, but something that we can be interactive like Zoom. If you want one-on-one sessions, if you want a community of women, all of that is available to you. Don't think you need to do it because I'm gonna still show up on here. I'm gonna be live. I'm gonna be on YouTube. All right. But the community and the course is there for people that just want everything, a step-by-step guide to follow. So the free webinar gives you a step-by-step guide as well. It's just not gonna be as intensive because it's less than 60 minutes, so it's limited. But if you want a course that has like a lot of lessons you could follow step by step, this is for you. So please go. If it's just to watch the free webinar, join me on the webinar, okay? Sign up for whatever time is convenient to you and let me know. Give me your feedback. Let me know. Is it good? Does it suck? Do I need to redo some things? It's my first one. I'm excited, and I'm excited to have you guys just learn a little bit more and to be able to join my community and let's just be one big happy loving godly wifey community, okay? The holy wifey community. So I love you guys so much as per usual. Share this video with someone you love, a wifey needs the encouragement and just wants to be closer in their relationship to God and also in their relationship to their husband. Okay? If they want their husband to change without nagging, begging, silent treating, my channel is for them. Okay? You can change your marriage all by yourself without any expectation. It's just you and God, and we're using Christian biblical principles. I love you guys so much. You have no idea because I'm on here like, what time is it? Almost midnight. But I will see you again. I don't know, but soon. Love you. Bye bye.